Good evening. I want to welcome every one of us to this section tonight. I believe others will join us and we don't want to keep us waiting. I want to welcome us to Cityscope Africa Academy, which is an initiative of Cityscope Africa. And this evening we have in our midst the founder and the CEO of Expo Nigeria to discuss with us on tourism, on how we can promote tourism for inclusive growth in our country, Nigeria. Even despite the fact that we have so many things going on now, but yet tourism is still thriving. So without much ado, I would like to introduce us to the profile and also a bit about what we do at Cityscope Africa Academy. So on the screen, we have what Cityscope Africa Academy, which is, like I said, an initiative with Cityscope Africa, and it's connecting business professionals and entrepreneurs in Africa, a place where business, lifestyle, and intercontinental building are made. So it's a welcome forum for all business entrepreneurs in Nigeria and in Africa and beyond, even in diaspora. So going to our speaker for the day, which is Ephraim Freezle Bulus. He's a certified tour operator, a social entrepreneur, and tourism practitioner. He is the founder of Expo Nigeria, a tourism and hospitality company that seeks to promote domestic tourism in Nigeria. Expo Nigeria is a great promoter and marketer of local tourism and tour packages around Nigeria. He has been involved in arts and entertainment, tourism events, and projects that seeks to drive positive and progressive actions. He's very passionate about environmental sustainability and has been actively contributing through his community projects in Plateau State. Ultimately, his goal is to use tourism as a tool to drive socio-economic development in Nigeria and Africa at large. So this evening, we are privileged to have Ephraim amidst us. We are supposed to hold this meeting yesterday, but due to one of his commitment to community activities, he was engaged, and we really appreciate the fact that you are able to create time for us this evening to have him come and speak to us today at Cityscope Africa Academy. So on this note, I would like to welcome Ephraim as he takes the platform, as he educates us, as he teaches us, as he enlightens us on the topic. You're welcome, Ephraim.
Thank you very much, sir, for having me. I believe all of you can hear me. Please respond if you can hear me.
I can hear you.
Okay. So I believe if you can hear me, then everyone can hear me as well. Thank you for this great opportunity to speak, to just discuss on this topic that is very dear to my heart. And domestic tourism is what I do. It's what Expo Nigeria does. And for us as a company, our goal is to export Nigerian tourism and culture through our local tour packages and, of course, by our tourism development initiatives. And we've been doing this for 3 years now, and we could say that there is lots of opportunities that lies in domestic tourism for inclusive growth. And just as I believe the introduction, about myself has actually gone ahead, so I won't need to dwell on that so well. I would just like to run through, just go straight into topic of the day, tourism for inclusive growth. I would like to start by defining what domestic tourism is. A lot of people might be asking, what is domestic tourism? Domestic tourism can be defined as a movement of people, for leisure, vacation, business within a particular country. And the purpose is simply to be able to explore or exploit the potentials that lies within a particular place, and for people to discover other forms of adventure or other forms of leisure or recreation that they can, enjoy within a particular country. Because most of the time, a lot of people don't have so much resources to travel out of the country, and then they wonder, if I want to have this kind of tourism experience within my own country that I reside, what are the tourism opportunities within that country? And our goal is, as a company, is to see how we're able to shine light to some of the tourism experiences that you can have even within Nigeria. So you mustn't travel to Dubai, you mustn't travel to Seychelles, to Maldives and all of that. You can have that kind of experience and still appreciate what you have and still promote your country while enjoying every form of adventure or tourism within your own country. And so that's what domestic tourism means. And when we talk about inclusive growth, it's simply an idea that it's like a universal term that has to do with unifying other components of a particular whole. So tourism is a multifaceted industry, and what that means is that it relies on other sectors to thrive. For example, tourism cannot thrive independently of transportation. So whether air, whether road or water, there has to be movement. So transportation is key in tourism. Tourism cannot thrive without the hospitality aspect of it. When you talk about hotel, talk about accommodation and all of that is still part of it. Talk about food, cuisines, restaurants, is also an element, that is all encompassing. Security is another. We talk about recreational centers, parks, theme parks, and lots of others. So you see that there are a lot of things that rally around tourism. So when you talk about tourism, you're talking about a lot of other things that are independent of themselves, but they are also integral in the process of carrying out tourism activities. So that's what it means. So when we talk about domestic tourism, just as I've highlighted, that's what domestic tourism means. When we talk about inclusiveness or inclusive growth, that's the inclusiveness. How does tourism unifies all these other sectors that I'm talking about for all of them to thrive independently, but collectively for it as an industry to grow. So that is what we are talking about, or that's what we'll be dwelling on today. So just to give us a brief statistics on the impact of domestic tourism globally, it is seen that according to World Travel and Tourism Council, domestic tourism, travel and tourism is considered one of the key drivers of economy of most developing countries and even developed countries. And so what that means is that a lot of countries, whether developed or underdeveloped, use tourism as an economic driver for their country. You have a country like Dubai, which is doing so well with tourism, and that has actually been one of their major economic drivers. That has been one of the things that have developed the infrastructure of that country. It has developed opened up the country to a lot of other opportunities. Dubai even runs an entire festival around shopping, where people come to Dubai to just shop. And you need to know the kind of visitation that happens within that period. So you see that there's an entire shopping week, that comes with other tour activities within Dubai, and people travel from far and wide to come and shop, spend their monies in Dubai, enjoy their culture, enjoy, other tourism activities in Dubai while spending their money to shop. So you see that that is their own way of, driving visitation to their country, and also encouraging you that is coming for that, purpose to come and spend your money within the country. So that there's a lot of revenue that is being generated and through those activities. Countries like Rwanda, Kenya, Tanzania, in Africa here have been able to, promote domestic tourism greatly, and this has actually opened up their country to a lot of opportunities. And just want to highlight two domestic tourism companies in Africa that are doing so well. And one is Visit Rwanda. And if you've been following up with what Visit Rwanda is doing, they are also an indigenous brand that promotes domestic tourism in Rwanda. And for them, they are not really interested in showcasing any part of the world. They also believe that Rwanda has tourism, and there are a lot of things that people should come out, from wherever they are, to come and see and to experience in Rwanda. So they've been doing so well, and that has also given them some level of partnerships, even with a popular football club that we know, which is Arsenal, and that has opened up their sports industry, to that kind of opportunity, and that's just a local tourism company, and they have been able to open the sports industry in Rwanda, and now they partner with Arsenal Football Club. They are partnering with PSG as well, as a tourism promoter, So that's just a little of what it can actually, domestic tourism can actually do for you. Also, another local tourism company like Go South Africa is also one that has been promoting local tourism in South Africa. And just to give a little story about how Go South Africa started, it was just a company that was founded by two brothers that have decided to just explore a particular city, within South Africa. And their goal was just to travel. They had a car that they could travel around, take beautiful pictures about their own city, put it out there, and all of that. And before you know it, more people began to, engage them to take them on tours to some of those places. And, it started growing like that, and it became a national brand that was, that is reckoned with in South Africa. And that has also opened up South Africa to more visitation and also some tourism opportunities. So these are just little stories that you could get from, local or indigenous brands that are, driving domestic tourism within their country. Now, Explore Niger is one that also desires to drive this same goal within Nigeria. We have a rich culture. We have a lot of tourism destinations that are unduly tapped, of course, but we also have destinations that needs to be projected. There are lots of destinations that even people in Nigeria have not been able to explore. And I tell you, Plateau State, where I'm from or where I'm based, there are also a lot of tourism destinations that a lot of people within Nigeria don't even know about, that is not even captured or even documented. But I tell you that there is a lot, of tourism opportunities, that is there for us in Nigeria. But just to give a little statistics of the impact of domestic tourism to the economy, I was trying to prepare these notes for this class. I was just going through some research, and I stumbled on China as one of the countries in the world that have been able to get some good dividends from domestic tourism. And the government of China have been able to invest so well in domestic tourism. And China is a jealous country that tries to, either through technology or through whatever forms of advancement, they are also contributing so well to projecting their own country. China, has a way of even putting out their own local language, to be acceptable globally, and that is a move for that's a tourism move. That is something that it's that is something that has to do with projecting a cultural relevance. That's something they're trying to do. So if we're able to make our own indigenous or languages, or local languages to be globally accepted, that is really a great move that can actually be done. So according to the statistics I stumbled on, is that in 2020, China generated about 2.23 trillion yuan, 3 trillion yuan in 2020, sorry. And you know that 2020 was the COVID year. So that if they are able to generate that much in 2020, that there's even opportunity to generate much more. So I tried to look back to 2019, which was before the COVID, to see what was the revenue that they were able to generate for domestic tourism within China, and it accounted for 6.63 trillion yen within 2020, within 2019. So it tells you that because of the COVID, over 4 trillion yen was dropped, came because of the impacts of COVID. So this tells you that there is a lot of revenue that is being generated locally from exploiting or, exploring local tourism within your own country. And China has a projection of 10 years to be able to, through their domestic tourism promotion, they believe that the impact or the economic impact of that can be able to take out 65 million Chinese people from the lower class to the middle class. And that tells you that there is a lot of empowerment that comes with that. So economic empowerment is really going to, show face as far as when we are able to exploit the domestic tourism opportunities that are there for us. So this also encourages us as Nigerians to begin to look into the opportunities that are there in promoting domestic tourism and how that can also be an economic driver for us as a country. What are some of the advantages or importance of domestic tourism? Most governments use domestic tourism, just as I said, as a tool to eliminate poverty, create employment opportunities, also to grow the economy of the country. Infrastructure is also another, because there is no how you will want to invest in domestic tourism that infrastructure will not set in. We talk about road networks. Good roads is necessary, because for people to be able to travel local, there has to be, transportation is key, just as I mentioned. So there has to be access to access to the tourism destinations. So for some of the tourism destinations, it's sad that it's sad that there are no good road networks to some of those destinations. So there is a need, if we really want to invest in domestic tourism, there is a need for those road networks to those tourism destinations to be more accessible to people. And then infrastructure is also key. And when we are able to invest and have theme parks, recreational centers and all of that, power, electricity is very important. Internet access is also important. So all of this infrastructure has to be considered. We have to be factored in when developing all of these things. And when we talk about eliminating poverty, it has a lot to do with empowerment, creating jobs for people. Imagine setting up a hotel or setting up a recreational center or setting up, having a functional tourism destination. A lot of people or a lot of locals within that community will be empowered, to be able to man one or two, positions in that. So that also creates an opportunity for the locals there to be able to have some form of job opportunities. And of course, that when more jobs are created, more people are empowered financially. And a little statistics for you to know that for every working class person, about at least 2 people, are dependent on any working class person, any person that is earning, that has a job that is, is taking care of him. You should know that not just that person is benefiting from the job that he or she is doing, at least 2 or 3 other people are benefiting from that. So if you are able to empower 1,000 people, tripling the mathematics, you know that at least 3,000 people are benefiting from just the 1,000 job opportunities that you've been able to create. So it's important that we begin to look into that direction in growing our economy and also empowering our people. And also, domestic travel helps to address some form of sensationalities within regions. And of course, there has to be some form of rural and urban integration. When you talk about tourism, local tourism within a country, that there's the rural setting and there's the urban setting. So some of the tourism destinations are in the rural setting, and the more people from the urban setting are visiting the rural setting, there is some level of relationship that is being built. There is a level of decentralization that happens when we have more people visiting the rural setting, and then it opens up that access, from the rural and the urban setting. It bridges that gap between the rural and the urban setting, and that is important also for development as well. So we need more people from the urban setting to visit the rural setting, to see what it looks like, to see the situation, to see the challenges, and what are the living conditions of the people in the rural setting. And there are a lot of people that on a normal don't have access, don't even for a whole year won't be able to even visit their village. So there are people that grew up all their lives, and they all grew up and lived in the urban setting and have never visited some rural settings. So they don't even know what the living conditions are like. So tourism is one that can be able to give that kind of opportunity to those people that don't have that opportunity to, to see what the rural lifestyle is. And that also opens their eyes to the needs that are around them and how they can as well contribute their quota in development as well. Another opportunity for or importance of domestic tourism, is it's also bridge religious barriers and religious gaps. Tourism is not sentimental. So what that means is that as much as we're talking about cultural inclusion, tribal inclusion, there's an aspect of religious inclusion as well. So it gives a platform where Christians, Muslims, and even other forms of religion can come together and be able to experience tourism regardless of their religious background, and religious or political sentiment. So that is also important for us to see that tourism has that that potential or that capacity to be able to break those barriers. And truly in Nigeria, these are some of the challenges that we are faced with when we talk about ethnicity, we talk about religion, we talk about politics, we talk about development, we talk about infrastructure, security, and all of that. We talk about human capital development, job opportunities or job creation. You can see from all the things that I'm saying that tourism has that capacity to be able to break those barriers and then to bring all of us together and then, see how we're able to together develop our country for good. I would like to move straight to how do we boost domestic tourism in Nigeria. One of some of the things that are important for us to do if really we want to boost or to grow domestic the tourism industry in Nigeria. One of the things is I have outlined here is safety and security assurance, and this is a big problem for us in Nigeria. And there are a lot of sentiments out there that has been that has made the issue of safety and security being a problem in Nigeria. And you can see from what I'm even saying is that tourism has that potential, has that capacity to be able to mitigate some of these problems that is faced with us. So how does how does the government contribute in the area of security? How can people be assured of their safety when traveling local, when traveling from the north to the east, to the south, and to the west? What are some safety assurances that can be guaranteed for people to travel, within Nigeria? And that is something, that we need to factor into as far as we want to grow the tourism industry or domestic tourism industry in Nigeria. The secondly is there has to be some form of friendly, entry protocols within the country. What is the procedure, of visiting Nigeria? What is our border procedures? Do we have friendly protocols that is able to motivate international tourists to visit Nigeria, or are there some barriers in that regard that is hindering a lot of people to come into Nigeria? So, as a country, we have to begin to look into that line to see how we're able to make our country more accessible for people, or foreigners or visitors to come. Transportation condition is also very important, whether road, whether flight, or whatever transport system that we intend to use. How do we create a more favorable, safe, and comfortable travel condition for people within Nigeria, or even people that are coming into Nigeria to enjoy moving within Nigeria? And that is something that we have to look into. What is the transportation? What's the condition of our roads in Nigeria? Traveling from Jos to Abuja used to be about a 3-hour journey, but now if you're driving from Jos to Abuja, it takes you about 4 hours. Or sometimes, depending on the driver, 4 hours, 30 minutes to get to Abuja, and that is simply because of the road condition. And it tells you that a lot of people will not want to go through that hassle just for tourism. There are a lot of people that hassle alone is going to discourage them from even traveling from Abuja to come to Jos, to experience something. If they think of the road condition, they think of the travel condition, it discourages them from traveling. So that is something, to factor into. What is also the quality assurance in hotel and hospitality service? Tourism is one industry that requires a high level of quality service. And this is because when people travel for either business or leisure, it's expected that they don't want to do that, and they don't want to have that kind of travel experience and then not enjoy quality service. So it's expected that our hotels, people in the hospitality service should be able to step up the quality of service that they give people. When you come to their particular states, that when you go to in the north, there are levels, of hospitality that you cannot get because there is no much investment that is being made in the area of accommodation or quality hotel and hospitality. There are people that will tell you that I cannot sleep in a hotel that is not 5-star. So in some states in Nigeria, you cannot get a 5-star hotel. So does that mean that someone that wants that kind of experience will not be able to have a 5-star hotel experience? So that means that there's a lot of investment that needs to be made all across the country. We should be able to have quality of, hotels, hospitality and hotels that is available for different class of people, from the lower class to the upper class. There has to be that quality of hospitality and hotel services available at every part or every state of the country. Is very, very important. There's also the need to improve infrastructure in our recreational parks, our vacation destinations, our museums, other tourism attractions. What are some activities that are there for people to enjoy when they are able to come within a state, in Nigeria to explore? If I go to Lagos, what are some of the places you would want me to visit? If I come to Jos, if I go to Bauchi, if I go to Kano, if I go to Calabar, if I go to Enugu, what are some of the things that are there for me to enjoy? Because that is also a motivating factor for me to travel. But if I don't have anything that is inviting for me to come and experience, of course, that will also discourage me from traveling. So also there has to be some form of trained, tour guides or tour operators within each city, that can be able to take visitors around. It's just sad that the aspect of tour guide services is not, it has not really come, it has not been able to be perceived by many people to be something you can actually build a career around. But I believe that there is a big opportunity there for people to go into tour guiding services in different cities, because there are people that are going to travel and come to a particular state, and they need people that can be able to give them guided tour services to certain destinations, so that they are sure of their safety, they are sure that they are going to the right places, they are getting, the right advice, to prepare even while coming, and all of that. And this is the jobs that a tour guide is supposed to offer you. So when we don't have people that can be able to offer those services for tourists or visitors, it makes it difficult or discouraging for people to want to visit, because there are people that don't want to go through the hassle of coming to a particular state and trying to find their way around. They need someone that can be able to guide them, can be able to advise them, can be able to suggest to them, places they can go, places they can visit, can handle the modalities or the logistics of going, or getting all of these things done. You don't want to go through the struggle of trying to find out, okay, how do I transport myself from here to here? What is it going to cost me to move from here to here? What is the cost of, having this experience in this particular place? You need someone to be able to guide you. And that is a huge gap that needs to be covered, And then the list can just keep going. There's just so much that is needed to be done, for us to have a sustainable tourism industry within Nigeria that encourages locals and foreigners to explore local and domestic tourism within the country. And finally, one of the things that I want to talk about is the career opportunities in tourism, especially for people that want to create an enabling environment for domestic tourism promotion. What are some of the job opportunities that are there for you as someone that wants to go into the tourism industry, wants to go into promoting domestic tourism within your country? What can you do to be able to earn and, of course, to offer service to people as well? One of the things which I've just finished mentioning is being a tour guide. And, there's just so much benefit of being a tour guide. One of the benefits, or two benefits I would like to highlight of being a tour guide, is that it increases your networks. Because as people come into a particular state, if you can decide to be a tour guide of just a particular state, you must not even decide to cover the entire country. You can just be a tour guide in your own state and just be able to know your terrain, to know the tourism destinations, have a relationship with them, go to those destinations, introduce yourself and tell them what you do, go to the hotels, let them know what you do, There are just a lot of things. Get your contacts right. And then you're able to know the rates, of everything that concerns visiting each of those destinations. And then when visitors come, you are going to be the point of call. People are going to call you to seek for your advice, to be able to seek for your service as well, to take them around. And you're going to be paid for that service. So it's left for you to be able to come up with your service rates, based on the kind of service you want to offer. Do you want to be developing itineraries for people? Do you want to just be taking people on tours? Or do you just want to be recommending destinations or hotels, or booking hotels for people? Do you want to be doing some form of airport pickups for them? There's just so much you can do within your own within your own state. So being a tour guide is really something you can consider as a job to do, and it can earn you some good money, as well grow your networks and your opportunities as well. You can also decide to hold or to have a local restaurant. One of the things that I don't see a lot of people doing is the idea of what I mean by local restaurant is not just to have a restaurant that offers the African intercontinental cuisines and all of that, which is good, is there, every state have eateries, has restaurants that provides different kinds of, food and cuisines for people. But beyond that, have we begun to look into the aspect of setting up restaurants that cater for our own indigenous cuisines? Within a state, you have your own local cuisines. How do we set up a restaurant that is able to provide just your indigenous cuisine, so that whether visitors or tourists that are coming to your state and want to have an experience of what your local or indigenous cuisines taste like, they should be able to know that there is a restaurant for them that they can go and have access to things like that. And even people within the state that might not naturally cook those kind of food in their houses, they can just decide to just have a family time out to just go and and have that experience of that local food that they might not have had for maybe a long time. Maybe the last time they had it was in their village, and here you are in an urban setting having that kind of restaurant where you are able to enjoy those local cuisines. that is something we can begin to look into. And there's a huge opportunity there for whoever wants to go into that hospitality aspect of food. That is something to do, within your own state. Hotel services, you could decide to even have service apartments for people, for guests, and all of that. Artisans and craftsmen can also, begin to look into having some form of souvenirs. How do you have local crafts or local items that tourists or visitors can come and buy from you? So beyond having your skills of being a craftsman or an artisan, have you ever sat down to think of items that can be souvenir products for visitors and tourists? And these are things you can sell. You can have a souvenir shop where you are able to sell, some of these things, and people are coming into the state and are patronizing. A place like Nikkei Art Gallery, it's a good place. That's a local craft shop that people come buy artworks. People come buy the tie and dye attires and beaded works and all of that kind of crafts. People come there to purchase some of these items, and have as souvenirs, that they have actually visited places like that. So we can have that spread across the state, the country, in different states. It's not going to be a bad idea to have a craft shop or a souvenir shop in every state of Nigeria that provides souvenirs for visitors and tourists. Transportation services are needed. There are people that can decide to not just have transport companies, but you can decide to have a city mobility service for visitors and tourists. And this is a special kind of job that that can only be done by people that understand the terrain and has the knowledge of the routes to follow to go to some tourism destinations. There are people within the state that may not even know the road to follow to go to a particular tourism destination, but there's someone that can decide to specialize in being a tourist driver that knows the routes, knows the places, knows the best road to go through those places. And then when people come into a state, they're able to contact you because you're more knowledgeable about the terrain, you're more knowledgeable about the road network, and you know the routes. So they will rather hire you on charter services, and then for you to take them, on those trips, and you even tend to earn even higher, and you get value for your time because you might decide to even charge per hour. So you can decide to say, okay, I charge you this amount for this number of hours, and the more destinations we are covering, this is what it's going to charge you, this is what I'm going to charge you, and all of that. So there's just so much you can be able to do as far as local tourism is concerned. There are services you can offer people that is needed on daily basis. And because people are not informed about what they can really do, they tend to feel like there is no opportunities, for you there to do as far as local tourism is concerned. You can decide to even be a travel blogger or vlogger, just to be able to create a platform that can be able to provide some form of travel guides or travel information for tourists. Because when they come to a city, people are looking for information. They want to be sure of, if I want to visit this place, what are some of the things that I should expect? How do I prepare myself to go into this, destination? What is the kind of clothes I should travel with because of it, probably the weather? What is,
So I think the network he has a network issue at his end. I hope he connects back so we can run up the session. So please kindly hold on while he connects back. Thank you.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, you're welcome.
Oh, sorry about that.
No problem.
Yeah, so sorry, I'm going to be rounding up soon. Yeah, so you can decide to be that. You can you can. There are a lot of things you could actually do. You can be a documentary photographer. You can be a travel. A documentary cinematographer. Just to create content. For tourists and travelers, so that they can have visuals that they can use for their social media. They could also use as a reference material as well when going back to their countries or where they came from. So these and many more that you could do um, as someone that desires to offer some form of tourism services within your country. There are just a lot you could actually do. So in conclusion, I would like to say that um, my joy truly would be that from the number of people that have been following this class and have listened to the little I have to say about domestic tourism promotion, I believe that one or two people can be motivated to begin to look into what they can do to contribute to the growth and development of domestic tourism in Nigeria. And I believe that as more people begin to engage this industry and begin to contribute their quota in advancing this industry, we are going to have more stronger and sustainable industry in Nigeria. And I would like to debunk the idea that tourism is the responsibility of the government. I tell you that the private sector is even more responsible for driving tourism. The government will only create the enabling environment for tourism activities to thrive, but the people that should be the drivers of tourism in a particular country or in a particular region or place should be the people of that place, and also people in the private, tourism sector that are doing things, to advance and to project and to promote the country as a positive destination to be visited. And I believe that the more we do that, the more we are able to send positive stories, positive narratives about Nigeria and our country. And this will in turn open up us to a lot of other opportunities, either for investment, for visitation, and of course, economic growth. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much, Ephraim. It's been an enlightening section. Looking at it from another view from previous section we had with Madam Nana Yakubu, also talking on tourism. It's really a great one. Thank you for the class, and I love the fact that you mentioned you pick on some things. The major one I want to talk about in the advantages of domestic tourism is that you talked about rural urban integration, and that's very key. That's very important for development, because most of us are moving away from the rural area. And funny to be very sincere, most of the tourism centers are always in the rural area. So we abandon them and then move to the city without forgetting that, okay, we still have to go back there to make it more better so that we can get more people to come in to see what we have, what is our heritage. So, so I don't know if anybody have any question for Ephraim this evening before we round up the class. So if you have any question, you can type it in chat box. You can raise your hands while I call your name, then you unmute. So while I'm waiting for that, so also I like the fact that you talked about when you are talking about how to boost domestic tourism, you mentioned the first one, which is what makes everybody afraid every time: my security. How safe is the location? How that is like the top. Everybody wants to hear that. Okay, how secure am I if I'm going to? Okay, let's say I'm coming to Jos now for tourism. How secure is it? If I'm going to Abeokuta, I'm going to Enugu, how secure it is traveling down there. I love the fact that you talked about that. And when you wanted to close, you said it is not the government's job. It begins, let me now use the word that it begins with us, or it begins with you as a person. So if you're in a private, there's a little you can do to actually make tourism a better industry. There's something you can do that will earn income for you. And it's very funny that tourism is a very big industry, but we actually have very, let's say, little knowledge or how to capitalize on tourism in Nigeria. So we look forward to more sections ahead with you. If you have any question, please kindly drop it in the chat box. I'll pick it up. We look forward to having more sections to also expand on tourism, because there are a lot of opportunities for us, for every individual. You can just be a photographer. If you have a good phone, take pictures, you snap and you send to them. You don't even need to print or do anything. It's something that they will appreciate. If you say that, wow, it's a good picture. Okay, that's great. So they always want to pay you for the services you offer. So there are so many opportunities, and we look forward to exploring it one after the other. So there's a question here from Clara Okoro. She says, if rural tourism can provide income for locals, why isn't government exploring that sector?
Income locals, why isn't government exploring that? Okay, so trying to look at it from this perspective, truly, I will say that I don't really know why. I won't say I know why government is not investing in that. Just as I said, you see, tourism generally, the government of Nigeria might have not prioritized tourism, and I feel that is the genesis of the problem. Because the more we give priority to tourism, the more government will be willing to invest in it. So if the government is looking in the aspect of tourism, when we're talking about national development, and government is considering tourism as that industry that should be a major contributor of economy and of development, if government is looking at it in that perspective, certainly they will do that. But it tells you that the government is not looking in that direction yet. So we might not be able to get the needed investment, that is required. But what is expected of us as private tour operators, and this is where we come in, is the more we begin to engage in this industry, the more we begin to exploit the opportunities that are there. And government has seen the results evidently. It will now motivate government to begin to look at it positively and to see the ways that they can also, invest so that they can be able to see the result. But now, I tell you that government is not looking at it as in the way we are looking at it at the moment. Maybe government is looking in the area of oil, in the area of agriculture, all of that, but tourism has not been able to be prioritized yet, and I feel that is really why government is not investing so much in this industry. But it's our responsibility to keep, engaging this industry, to keep projecting it, and to keep, as private operators, the results that we are generating, the revenues that we are generating as private operators within the industry will motivate government to begin to look in that direction and to invest in it.
Okay, thank you so much for that. I hope that answers your question, Clara Okoro. So also, I would like to say that probably the government have not find the tourism sector attractive. So I think that's a major thing, that if they find it attractive, they will have invested a lot more, because we have a lot of tourism destination in all over Nigeria, not just some place, all over Nigeria. There's no state that does not have a tourist attraction in Nigeria, but unfortunately, they are yet to find it attractive. So we hope that they are able to do that soon with the effort of the private sectors that are already on ground, and more that are coming up as soon as possible. So thank you so much for this evening. I want to appreciate everyone who has joined us this evening for the wonderful section on tourism. I believe you've learned one thing or the other tonight, and you can start a business from this. So there's no much. It just takes how you want to go about it. You can start something from it, and then you have an extra side income or extra income coming in from one place or the other. So we want to say thank you so much. We have our sections at this like this once in a month, and we send our email update out to update you. You can also follow us on our social medias, Cisco Africa on all platforms, and Cisco Africa Academy on LinkedIn. You can follow us on that page to get our academic updates as it comes. So we appreciate you, we celebrate you, and wish you all a great week ahead. And once again, to our speaker tonight, Ephraim Freezle, thank you so much for creating our time to give us an insight into how big the tourism industry is and how to push for domestic growth of the tourism sector towards inclusive growth. Thank you so much. And we say goodbye from all of us and from Cisco Africa. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir, for having me.
You're welcome.